headmaster, the head of school, of the school down the street, just a couple miles down the street. It's called River City Christian School. If you're familiar with the Old Blakes Center, we're right in the corner next to them. That's who we are. We take students roughly average between, in a year, we usually between 90 to 100 students, K through 12th grade, who have learned some form of learning challenge. Okay. Most people call it learning disability. We don't call it a disability. We call it a challenge. Actually, we call it a difference, a learning difference. And we believe, and like Caroline said, we believe our children are the adults that you guys work with who, by the grace of God, has some intervention. Some of them that come to us at a late age still end up coming to each one teach one. So we've got a couple at the end. So we've been able to get some of the holes filled, but they still need some extra, little bit extra. And so we're still partnering in that way. I'm going to tell you a little bit about me, then you're going to tell me a little bit about you, because I believe in, and there's a reason for that. You'll understand when we get into this workshop. My background is, I say God has a sense of humor. He has me in charge of this wonderful school. Okay? I'll tell you how I got in the business of doing this school. In 1992, I adopted, my wife and I adopted a little girl. We attempted to adopt a little girl. We didn't get to it at the slightly. She was almost at the age of 2. Really didn't. I won't get into the story, but we really didn't get legally adopted until she was 17. But she lived with us the whole time. And I scored the highest score in my SAT in my school when I graduated from Miami Carroll City Senior High in 1973 is when I graduated. And see, he's already back there doing the math. Yeah, I'm a kid. I'm still, that's right, I'm still a kid. And then, my wife had an appointment to the Air Force Academy when she graduated. She's a little younger than me. I won't tell you when my pastor told me I robbed the cradle. So I'll tell you how young she is. She's 2 years younger than me. And so school for us was always, was an easy thing. In fact, school was very easy for me, to be honest with you. And then we were blessed to have two sons. One of them, 7th grade, I think it was, 6th grade, 7th grade, competed in the citywide math competition, and he was thrown in there. And at the last minute, came back with 2nd place. And then my other son, didn't even prepare for it, took the ACT test, scored a 28 out of 32, became a Hispanic National Merit Scholar recipient, which I didn't know at the time what that was. And then I come to find that, and received probably, when he graduated, he received over $1 million in scholarship offers, not because he was a great soccer, basketball, baseball, football, or any of those players, but because of his academics. Harvard kept bugging us, and we finally told Harvard, we can't afford, you understand, we poor folks, we can't afford you. And they said, still, you don't understand. We just aren't, excuses us, everything's paid for. Nebraska was offering him a full ride and a stipend to go to school. Different universities, Georgia Tech. The only ones that didn't give him anything was Texas. I guess I should But this young man at 17 decided he wanted to go to the Naval Academy, and he was one of 12. They got a direct appointment to the Naval Academy. He went to a small little private school, Christian private school. And he got a direct appointment to the Naval Academy and he got selected to go. In fact, he had an appointment to the Naval Academy, and they were so impressed with him, they gave him an appointment to the Merchant Marines, which those are far and few. And he was intended to be in the Naval Academy. Today, he is a captain in the Marines. Mother told him going to do 2 things. Don't box. I'll let you go, because we had a sign because he was only 17. But then you go. Don't box, and don't become a Marine. You know what happened? In the Naval Academy, the big thing is the box rule. When you first get there, you have to learn it. We did it. But anyway, so You know, hey, good genes, right? Smart kids, no problems. We adopt this little girl, and come to find out, we noticed something different about her learning. So, and we put her in school in K4. Noticed something different about her learning. She wasn't like getting things, was struggling. It wasn't that she wasn't interested, wasn't that she was giving it all she had. She loved school, but she just couldn't get it. And so through a process of seeking help for her, I ran into this lady who had a little bitty school that did work with kids that had struggles. And at the time, I had 20 years, 1 month, 10 days, not that I counted it, I served in the United States Air Force. I was a weapons instructor. I taught people to shoot. It wasn't an education, but I did educate people to shoot. And that's what I did. Decided sports has been my passion. In fact, I came here from Miami, Florida, landed in San Antonio in 1974, and spent 19 of my 20 years here. The only way I got orders was I used to play a lot of sports. Softball and soccer were my guys before I came to Christ. And so that's how I got orders. I went around, played a lot of sports. I was very good at it. So I was going to be the next big coach. And when I retired, I ended up being the next big coach for my daughter. Trying to find her help. Ran into this lady. They needed somebody to do PE. I couldn't afford tuition. I needed somebody to do PE, so I started doing it part-time. And next thing I knew, I ended up running the school. I don't even know how to remember how that happened. And then she had the founder of the school had medical issues and couldn't keep going. So I said I would fill in the help. It's kind of what I did. And then through a process, I ended up here at River City Christian School. I went there to start an athletic program, and when my daughter graduated, I was going to graduate from school too. And in 2008, my daughter graduated, and I'm still there. So I still can't seem to get it right. So I'm going to school. I do have a master's in theology. I'm a Bobcat. I have a bachelor's and a master's from Texas State, and my master's is in education. So I've been working with this type of the population that I work with since, like I said, my baby came to me in 1992, officially in a school setting, started helping in 1996, was somewhat involved, and I've been at River City Christian School since 2003. That's what we do. And so I'm not special education is not my thing. I'm going to tell you that right now. I'm not a special educator. I have no special education training. Most of my teachers do not have special education training. I will be very honest with you. I look real before I hire a special education teacher. Now, if you're in here, please don't take this personally. It's not your, if you are, is that most special education teachers, at least in the state of Texas, are trained on the law of special education, which deals with public schools, and we don't mess with that much, really. We know what it says. We make sure our students have the assistance and things they need, but that's not what we're focused. Our focus is to get students to learn. Okay? We believe every child, God doesn't make a mistake, and every child can learn. We got to figure out how they learn. That's what we focus on. I believe every person that comes through these doors here, whatever their struggle is, they can get a whole lot better. But your job is to try to do is figure out how to get them to learn. And hopefully, I hope to leave you with a few things today that will help you. Maybe is everyone in here already working as tutors? Is everybody here? If you're working as already for each one, everybody here is already working for each one, teach one as a tutor?
No.
No, you're not? Okay. You're just try checking it out. Is that what you're doing?
Well, just beginning.
He's
beginning. All right, well, good. Well, it's good. But
we have some of our partners here too, from the Housing Authority
awesome.
and from Alamo Colleges.
Okay, great.
So
you'll get an idea. Maybe I'll give you one or two things that'll help you with your particular student, and if not this one, the next one. Okay? All right. So I told you a lot about me, more than I wanted to, because I was trying to give them time to
Our power button is stuck in the standby position, and I can't pry it
Okay,
out.
well, I'm gonna try to.
I've got the computer, at least it should help, and if people need to move in, I'll help you move your tables in.
No, that's, they got the handout.
They got the handout.
Yeah, I will need it, so I can see it. So why don't you bring it up? Let me have it up here. In fact, that way it's gonna be better, because that way I have to stay right here for the sound guy. So here we go. All right. Okay. So before I start though, I want you to tell me your name, where you're at, and if you're a tutor here, or what is your, just give me a couple of sentences. Sir, if you don't mind starting.
Sure. My name is Larry Carter. I'm the program manager for Jobs Plus out of the San Antonio Housing Authority, and we're a business partner for Each One Teach One.
I'm Mary Jane Flores. I'm also with the Jobs Plus program. I'm a senior resource specialist. Basically what we do is look for resources for our members to remove any barriers for them to be able to move forward in their goals.
Awesome.
I'm Harriet Buffington. I'm a retired reading specialist from Northside.
We like reading specialists. All right.
And I just started with
Just-
orientation last week.
Yes, new
I
tutors.
walked in the door early and they put me to work.
That's what you get for coming early.
That's how I hired most of my teachers. I tackle them out the door. You do what? Come here.
My name is Amanda Wheeler. I'm currently a college freshman at Arlington Lake University and I'm a business major.
All right.
Tutor.
Oh, yeah, I'm a tutor.
Yeah, tell me if you're a tutor or not. Don't tell me that. Tell me that.
I'm Edward Sachs. I'm a paralegal at Escobie and Tonic Law Firm in San Antonio. Our clients are school districts, so I work on special ed cases. Just as a commentary, there's an exorbitant amount of money spent on special education cases by the school district to defend themselves, which, anyway, seems like a waste. But Saha is one of our clients also. In my other life, I'm a musician. I sing with the San Antonio Master Singers, and I'm a choir director at a church right down here on Thorane, Grace Baptist Church.
Okay.
I'm Debbie Sachs. I'm married to this guy.
I'm in line, huh?
I'm a tutor here. I homeschooled for 18 years, so not a professional teacher, but I've always had an interest.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Oh, I'm a tutor, a beginning tutor.
That's all right.
Good.
Good.
Wonderful.
My name is Andy Shaw, and I just spoke to Carolyn this morning. We're going through orientation.
Oh, hi, Andy. I didn't even see you come in.
I snuck in, so I was a little bit late.
Oh, that's okay. I didn't mean to, yeah.
So what do
Call that out.
you do for a vocation or a living, or what
I
profession?
work for the university,
Which one?
University of Texas.
Oh, UT.
You know, he said the university.
Yeah, I thought he said, I misunderstood what he said. UT Austin or UTSA?
UTSA.
Yeah, I keep telling myself I'm gonna go over there and do my doctorate, and but I'm too big, I keep putting it off.
Is it okay for me to say what you do, or you don't want people to know?
Well, no, I haven't done anything.
He's a physician, but he just called, and he's gonna be a tutor, basically.
Awesome.
He's just called
So
for
you're
information.
at Health,
The Health Sciences Center.
our students come, we used to go over there, we haven't in the last few years, but big field trip that we used to do, our high school. Yes, great place.
So we're looking forward to
They
putting him to
touch the
work.
brain and all that stuff.
No, always welcome.
Yeah, we have to get back to it, absolutely. Sir?
I'm Steve Walker. I'm a retired teacher, former judge, basically with truancy and disorderly kids. I taught special ed. And I know Pontic and Escamilla because I was in Harlandale, so I know them very well. And I also taught public speaking, journalism, history, government, reading, English. And next week I'm going to start teaching in the best program, GED, over at ACCD. And I even taught GED in the Bexar County Detention Center. And you know what the greatest thing about that was? Perfect attendance.
Perfect attendance.
I've had a few students come out of there. And so,
I've actually taught former judges even. And one of my former students should be in that one of the next city council. I taught them everything they know.
ready to go. Well, good deal.
Wonderful.
Yes, Yes, ma'am.
I'm Sylvia Duncan, and I have 2 assignments. For the last 8 years, I've been teaching for SAISD, or GED ESL program.
Okay.
And I love that. But they keep cutting my hours, so I've just picked up Alamo Colleges. And I'm doing their, it's called an IBIS program.
Yes, oh yes, sure.
I have a few students who, for different reasons, haven't finished with us. I know 2 of them that are in that program.
Well, both of my assignments that I'm doing now are on the east side, in the east side of Promise neighborhood.
Zone, okay,
Yes.
Cool.
Wonderful, and we're wildly successful.
excellent,
Very positive.
excellent,
Yes, sir.
wonderful, welcome.
Thank you.
I'm John Seffel. I'm an experienced tutor. Worked for several years at Project Learn to Read here in San Antonio and was the board chair of that. And then dropped that because I was spending so much time teaching international universities. I taught at 8 international universities plus UT, the U in Austin. Current Word, I was the head of the graduate business school at Current Word. That all happened after I retired.
Oh my
And I
God.
retired again, and now I can't stay away from it, so I'm back into tutoring. I've been working with Carol for about a year and a half.
Yes, fantastic
Awesome.
tutor.
My name's Will McBride. You all have such impressive resumes, and I don't.
We'll be the judge of that.
Actually, I was a high school dropout. You know,
Yeah.
it wasn't because I had a learning challenge. It was because I had friends, you know, that went the wrong direction. Anyway,
No.
yeah, you know, joined the service when I was young. Right now, I work in commercial construction, plans, proposals, and that sort of thing. And I started working a lot at home, and so now I have all this free time. And so I decided, the next part of my life, I want to, contribute more. So that's why I'm here. I'm not a tutor. I've never tutored.
You are
I will tell you this, as a when I was a weapons instructor, when a trainee would say, we'd ask them what their experience were, and they would say to me, I've never fired a gun before. I was like, yes! Because then they were gonna do it exactly how I told them to do it, exactly, they were gonna know it, and they weren't gonna have any biases. And they usually were ended up being the better shooters. So the fact that you coming in fresh and everything, that's, not that these guys, in fact, I was thinking, let me tell you what I was thinking, I need to sit down and let one of these guys come, because they probably have, I'm gonna tell you, I know some of these guys have a whole lot more information than I do. Remember what I said? I said God has a sense of humor, he has me in charge of a school like this. He didn't just put me in charge, he gave me the school. The school used to belong to the church, I'm gonna tell you this part. The school used to belong to the church. The church came one Monday morning and said, we're stopping being around, here's the school. Okay, and I had 100 families and 20-some people that are depending on me for a paycheck. And so I was like, okay, Lord. And so you guys have some impressive resumes, and I applaud you. And the fact that, but that's the thing, and you notice most of you have said it's because you dealt with this population, and you can't get away from it. I tried. I had me and God wrestled. I found this one day. I'll tell you the story. Remember, we get going to this. I was always ready to leave. I wanted out. I couldn't wait till my daughter graduated. It was about 6 months after and I still hadn't heard from, I was trying to listen to God and follow His direction. And I'm a man of prayer, and God wasn't telling me go. And I was really getting upset, and I was weed eating, and I was having this conversation with God, and I was kind of getting, I can't believe you ain't told me nothing. You don't speak to me, God, and And I confessed everything I knew to make sure I was hearing Him. And finally, I threw that thing down, and I said, okay, if you want me to work with these kids, Lord, you're going to have to give me, because I was trying to get out of San Antonio, too. And I said, this was a few years back. And so I said, you're going to have to give me a love for these kids and this city. And I live out by Floresville. So that's how I got out of San Antonio. I moved out to Floresville. But then I travel here all the time. And then I was coming in one day on 37, and I saw the tower and that little upside down armadillo, and started looking. And I said, man, you know, this is a great place. And I started thinking about the fact that I get to raise my kids here, and all and the people of the diversity in this room, and the people. It's San Antonio, and the people of San Antonio. And yeah, we have our problems, but I tell you, we're blessed, especially those of you. I've had since then. I've had opportunity to travel more and more. I'm an immigrant. If I don't ever leave the United States, and I came to this country my grandmother brought me when I was young. I'm Panamanian by birth. I tell folks, Panamanian by birth, American by choice. I love this nation. I love this country. This is my country. I started. You know, I've had the opportunity to go see beautiful places, but when it comes to the people, you're not going to find. I have yet to find this kind, what we have here in San Antonio. You don't meet a stranger. And so I thank you for that. But anyway, let's get going. I'm going to ask. If I had this on the board, it would have said, "Will the real dyslexic please stand up?" That's the title of this little workshop for you I came up with. And let's see how this one works. All right. I'm going to talk to you about some practical things. I'm going to talk to you. If you look at your handouts, I'm going to talk to you about we're going to get a working desk. I'm going to give you everything I'm going to give you. You may already, some of you know. A lot of you, I think, know. Those of you that maybe have shady about it, I guarantee you can get on the internet. There's thousands of books written about it. So when Kate asked me and Caroline called me up and she said, "Thank God, I'm so glad." See, Kate asked me to ask, and I told Kate, I'm going to ask my wife, make sure I can. You know, I got to make sure my honeydew list gets good. and then I said, I got to check with her. And then I said, yeah, I think I can do it. And right away, I get a call from Caroline. I'm so glad, guys, you did it. And she knows I can't say no to her, right? So I was stuck. Because I was still thinking, maybe I didn't tell Kate I don't want to do it. Because I got to go pick up two boxer puppies here after I leave here that I'm just now getting in my home. That's another story.
2 boxes of puppies.
Yeah. So anyway, my grandson needs some dogs.
Oh my God.
But anyway, I started really thinking, you know, what can I really give you? Well, I'm going to give you, and even if you didn't know anything, you have an information. Now, I tell you, I have 2 masters. I have a BA. I'm going to get a doctorate. Some of you guys here, it sounds like you got some phenomenal education about, and I love learning. I tell you, when I stop learning, it's time for me to go fish. Stop doing what I'm doing. If you're going to help people learn, you've got to be a learner, an active learner. I can't imagine not being in a learning environment. I think some of you can. That's why you're here. You try to. Yeah, I'm retired. Like as people say, retire. I go, why? I'll go back and do the same thing. Probably do it for less money than I'm almost doing it for free now. I just do it for free now. I know the feeling. You know, nonprofit, you do it practically for free. So, but anyway, so I want to give you some things, some knowledge, but it's not because, and this is, I'm telling you, I quote on there where I've gotten it from. It's not mine. And then at the end, I hope to break up into 2 sessions. We're going to do one, take a short break. Then the second part, we're going to talk about some of the things we do at River City Christian School. Like I said, yeah, we work with little ones, okay, to old. And the average graduating age in my school is 19. Because most of these kids have been held back a couple of years. And they come to me, it's not unlikely for me to get a 10th grader, 17-year-old 10th grader that cannot read. Cannot read. Or reading at a K5 level when we test them. That's a typical student that we get. And they've graduated. They're going to UTSA, making A's and B's. I got one going to Marshall University. I've got one that came back and is teaching for me and is touring in fact, he's in Scotland right now doing a presentation. Joining the military, becoming plumbers. These are kids that I got one that's playing, one of the starting basketball players from one of the junior colleges here, Alamo Community Colleges here, straight A student. His mother was told you'd be lucky if he gets out of high school, if he makes it out of high school. And it's not because, but it's so what we're doing, I'm gonna hopefully put some tools in your hand, some basic knowledge, some things to keep, tools in your hand that'll help you, be even more successful than I know this is a successful program, so for those of you that are starting, you're gonna be successful. For those of you that are at it, I know you already have had, probably, you can tell me some testimonies of success you've already had. You guys wouldn't keep doing what this young man in the back here wouldn't keep doing what he's doing.
Thank you.
You wouldn't be doing what he's doing. would not be doing what he's doing for as long as he hadn't had, like he had some success. He's already mentioned a couple of them. So we're gonna talk about, okay, let's look, and I apologize. I was trying to do this in between. I had a big fun possibility of getting a big grant to renovate our school, our kitchen in our school, because we're going to offer, and the goal is to offer culinary training at our school to our students. And if you're familiar with the Charity Ball Association, they came and visited. 18 people in the committee, and that's not all of them. Of the who's who of San Antonio ladies was there. I had that, and I had science fair going on, so I was trying to do this in between. Like I said, I got a late call on this, trying to fix it up, so I apologize for the small print. I thought we would have the big stuff here. But anyway, let me just kind of tell you, we're going to look at what are some of the practical, first let me do this, let me back up. What do you, in about 2 sentences, in 1 or 2 sentences, tell me your what do you understand is a dyslexic person? And I'm going to start with you, sir. What do you understand? Give me, and that definition is just what, if you're dyslexic, what does that mean? When you hear somebody says, I'm dyslexic, what do you think?
Well, I just asked Kate, an hour ago what dyslexia means, so.
Well, tell me what Kate said, I'll tell you.
Well, I can't tell you what she said. What I thought is the inability to read because you see words as not how they're presented on the page, but maybe backwards or.
I want you to make sure you listen to these, and I might call on you to say something about this again, okay? So you might want to jot you a little something. Sir, and I'm so I apologize, I can't remember everybody's name. Yes, sir.
What is John?
Yeah.
I've always just assumed that dyslexic, we were reversing your reading from the right to the left and put together a word in the wrong direction.
Okay?
Yeah, that's what I always believe.
Sir?
Looking at the word dog and calling it God.
Okay. Okay, you can't say anything. Yes, sir. Professor?
Just seeing it back.
Okay, all right.
Your brain interprets what it sees the wrong way.
If you want to say ditto, go ahead and say ditto.
Reading backwards.
Okay.
Flipping letters and numbers.
At Northside, we were trained to test for characteristics of dyslexia, and we were told over and over and over that we did not have the ability to diagnose dyslexia because only a neurologist could, but we could diagnose, we could test for, diagnose, and remediate characteristics of dyslexia.
And give me one characteristic of dyslexia that you remember.
Well, the eye looks at the page, mixes it all up, and may skip lines, go to the end, go all over the place. Okay,
sounds good. You guys want to take a shot? You want to take a shot at it?
Retaining the information. And someone has to read it 4 times before they understand it.
Interesting.
And pretty much ditto. You're not interpreting what's on the page.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. TEA, and I don't know if I put it on here. I'm gonna go down to TEA causes dyslexia, the difficulty with alphabet, reading comprehension, writing, spelling, in spite of adequate intelligent exposure and cultural opportunity, which I'm not sure, I guess that means, that's educational speak for.
They had the opportunity to present it to them.
Yeah, that or they're talking about your economic status. Every time I see cultural, they're either talking about race or economic, socioeconomic status a lot of times. So that can be what they mean by that. All right, so I don't know what, that should have been the slide above that. So to me, when I read that definition, I said, we're all dyslexic. Who is it? All my kids are dyslexic. When I look at all my kids, I start thinking about my kids, right? Look at that. You know, it looks like everybody is. But we've been, most of the, understanding the stereotypical is they reverse the letters. They can't see, what they see on the paper, the brain does, the brain doesn't see, it flips it around, those kinds of things. But, so know that, and the reason I gave you this, so know that somebody may come to you, and I'm assuming, and I'm not, I don't understand all the things of each one, but is you're trying to find out, learn, one of the things you need to do, if you're gonna be an effective tutor, especially, I think you're gonna be an effective educator, especially these tutoring these adults, you got to get to know, and I put student, I apologize for that, because that's what I think of my kids, you gotta, some of the practical things, you gotta know them. Well, when they tell you dyslexic, don't already assume that what they're saying to you is, oh, they reverse the letters, or the paper, they're not seeing it the way it's on there. Because they might just be saying to you what they were told. I can tell you, intake process for our school, you don't just get to come, you don't just get to say, I have a learning challenge, I want to come to your school, and we say, okay, come on in. If I did it that way, I would have a waiting list. Okay? We have an admissions process. And so they'll tell me, I have this dyslexia is probably top 1 or 2 of the students that come to our school. That's one of their diagnoses. And so I say, okay, well, tell me what that means to the parent. Usually we interview the parents, and then I interview the student. And depending at the level the student's at, what his abilities are, and all that kind of stuff, I try to pick out from him what, he'll say, I'm dyslexic. I say, what does that mean? Help me understand. What do you mean? What does that mean to you when you say this? Well, I don't, they'll tell me, they'll say, I just see, sometimes they will say, I see the letters swimming. Or I mess up some, and they'll start some other things too. They start saying things. That's, and we're not doing, and the parents, you have to say, the parents are thinking we're trying to eliminate their child from coming to our schools while we're having these interviews. And I say, no. I'm trying, the more information I get to know, it's kind of like, you say you're in construction, right? And it's usually you're planning. When you sit down with the folks, you're wanting as much information from who you're building for the purpose of, you want to make sure you understand what they want, what their needs are, all those things, so you can build that plan, right? Well, when you're tutoring, when you're trying to help this adult overcome their struggle or get them, most of them, and I can imagine as an adult that they're not, if they don't start seeing some results in a fairly reasonable time, you're gonna lose them.
You're gonna lose.
So the critical time is early. So the sooner they can start seeing some, even little results, they're going to, the sooner, it's going to be better for them to really buy into what you're saying and work for you and get those things. So that's why it's important. So I'm going to tell you some of the basic stuff and I will tell you this. I was having this conversation with Kate. I said, because Kate said, I don't even remember what she said, which one she said. You're going to talk about this dyslexia, right? I said, Kate, tomorrow, that might not be what they call it. It's basically what I was trying to get Kate to understand. Because if you're, and I think I heard some medical folks here, and a lot of it has to do because there's so much, we are becoming so much information, new discovery, new things, especially with the brain. They're doing a lot of studies of the brain. And the neurosciences and those kinds of things, that things are changing. What they thought was good, I just saw the other day on TV, and baseball was one of my, softball was one thing. The way we were, they had to tell you, don't throw sidearm, and, when you pitch, you got to throw, this, and don't do this. Now, everything they told them, we were told not to do, guys like me, it's wrong. Now the science said, no, that's wrong. That's all was wrong. You do this, what they're doing now to get these guys to throw, these young high school kids, they got young high school kids throwing over 100 miles an hour. Because they changed it up to throwing sidearms and all the kinds of crazy stuff. So it's because things are changing so much, then they start changing. They can't just call it the same thing and say it's just changed. They got to give it a new name. Okay, that's just the way it is.
That's what they do in education. They rename it.
Yeah.
In my early days of teaching, we had certain things, and some PhD came in and had a great innovation, and we did that 20 years ago.
I will tell you this, I went and got my graduate in education after, I've been doing what I'm doing. Because I was able to, because it's Christian school, because I had a master's in theology. I was a pastor for a while. That's why that's what I thought I was going to do the rest of my life, okay? So I went and got a master's in theology. But then, and it was okay, but then because we're a fully accredited school, we're accredited through the Southern Associations of Colleges and Schools. Our school is. We have one of the accreditations we have, along with a Christian accreditation. Well, when they started going that way, they said, well, you got to have something that's in education. So I went back, and thank God for Hazelwood Act. I didn't have to pay that much because already my GI Bill was over with, and so I went back to Texas State, and I went and I was taking education classes, and I was the only private school person in there, okay, I was among the public school folks. And we're doing all the books that I was looking at this stuff, and I said, nothing's changed.
That's what I said.
They're just changing the names. A lot of the stuff, nothing. I will tell you, what I'm going to tell you today is simple. You're going to go, that's it. You're probably going to leave out of here, man, that guy wasted my time. Maybe you might feel that way because you think this is too, you're going to think it's too simple to be true. But I'm telling you, I get kids that have been to some of the most, you name the program for reading. You name it. They've done it. I have some of my parents who have been some of the most, money is not, not just because they're well-to-do, but because like most of you in here would do anything for your child. They have made whatever sacrifice necessary to take their child to get help. And when they come to me, they're desperate. Caroline St. knows this. They're desperate. And what we do is most of it is simple, old school stuff. Look, I'm going to show you, I'm going to talk, some of the stuff I'm going to tell you about, when I talk to you about some of the practices out of this program right here. This is so antiquated book, old school, old stuff, all right? But it works.
Yes.
So what would you go do? The new stuff, have all the bells and whistles, and I'm not opposed to it. We have technology. We believe in all that stuff. I'm letting my kids use their phones to teach. I'm telling my teacher, because accreditation, you got to show that your students are using tech. And I want them to be able to do technology stuff. My kids are going to be, some of them are going IT. But to get them first, we got to get them to learn, be able to read, be able to do their math, be able to write. Those are the basics, right? Reading, writing, arithmetic? Right, okay, so anyway, I'm sorry, I know I get a little preachy here, but let's move along here. I knew that I wouldn't say that. That's why I did the PowerPoint. All right. So some of the practical things. Success, like I said, success, a little success. You want to get to know them. You want to figure out how they learn, what's going on, because that breeds success. Some of that I put on there. How do you get to know these guys? And don't make it all about. I don't know about your adult learners, Caroline, so you help me. But my kiddos, they come in, when they first come in, they're like this. You can't make eye contact. They want to look, because they're embarrassed. They feel the S word. They've been told that, in my case, they've been told that. And not just by their fellow classmates, by their family member. Sometimes dad is the worst one. Mom, I can almost all my kids come from divorced homes. If they're either adopted, throwaways, or divorced homes. I told you I got a student that's making A's and B's at UTSA. He's Amerasian, Korean, Anglo. His Korean mother said, because when he was born, it was evident that he had some challenges. She said, already being Amerasian, I don't know if you know this, they're not even considered human in Korea. All right? I don't know if that's changed, but when I was there, That's the way it was. That's why the orphanages are full of them. And then now the mother says, who was married to a GI, said, man, if you keep him, I'm gone. And she left. So it's not just our dads. Or hearing this. Hey, I made it through school. You're my blood. You're just being lazy. And then things don't still work. Dad said, blames it on the mom, walks out. What would that do for your psyche?
As we have adults, when we interview them for enrollment, that come to tears, 40, 50-year-old men, because of that very situation. They remember to this day what was said to them about their ability or lack of ability to learn.
So you're fighting that. You're fighting, my point to that is you're fighting that. And I'll let you say something in a minute, sir. You're fighting that. So you got, what you have to do is first, they got to, now let me tell you, I'm military, all right? I raised a cop and I raised a Marine. Let me play. I can get on these kids' faces. In fact, one mom who couldn't stand me, finally her senior year, she said she couldn't. I knew it. She knew it, and I knew it, and I was okay. And she said, I wasn't there for her. I was there for her child. As long as she kept paying me, we're good. So anyway, she told me one day, you know what, I was just berating you and talking smack about you, and my son stopped me and said, you need to leave Mr. Castillo alone. He does what he does because he loves us. Let me tell you, you get an adult person, I don't care what adult child to believe that you're doing what you're doing because you love them.
Right.
They'll, you know what? They will conquer. They'll go take the hill with you.
Sure they will.
They'll take the hill with you. And they'll try it. They will try it, what you're asking to, if they believe you care. So the first thing I want to tell you, the most practical thing, you got to get whoever you're working. You got to, and you're going to come tired from work. I'm sure these are, the dog got out, and you had to chase him out in the rain. You flat tire. Sometimes you don't come in here with the best attitudes. Okay? I can tell you, some days I'm going to work and I'm saying, why did I commit to this, but you got to have your best foot, you got to, but they got to believe that you believe in them. I guess is what I'm trying to think. Get to know them. Ask them things like, hey, what's your favorite, I put some dumb stuff, what's your favorite color? It's exercise time. Hey, we're getting ready to have a good time in here. Make this, don't be so, let's get to work, we're going to talk about exercise time. We're going to talk about, the things you're going to get evaluated is this exercise time. You're going to do some exercise, and we're going to Roomba. And a little Latin. Okay? All right, but anyway, so that's kind of what we're going to cover here. I'm sorry, sir, I see you wanted to make a statement. Go ahead.
Okay, you're preaching to the choir to me, because I will give you an example. I was called stupid, dumbass, smartass, and I was told I would never graduate high school, go to college, get a master's. I have a master's, a bachelor's. I was most likely to succeed in college. I've been a councilman, a judge, and even when I became a judge, people wanted to know how the hell I did it. So you know what I told my students for all those years? It's not where you start, it's where you end. And when people call you stupid, you tell them to talk to the hand. You're not listening.
That's right.
Thank you.
That's exactly right. No, that's exactly right. That's exactly right.
I had a dad who told me that I wasn't his biological son. I was the only one out of 6 children. I wasn't the only one who wasn't good on mountain.
There you go.
Okay, so I'm with you.
Yeah.
Teach on the south side. You hear that every day.
That's right. It's not just the south side. Let me tell you. It's all south side. You should west, white, black.
That sure is.
It's everywhere now because that's a whole new thing. Let's look at another definition. Let's look at that. I gave you the one definition already that the TA. This is all. I'm sorry. I apologize that it's all small and written on there, but I read it to you. It says dyslexia is a specific learning disability that is neurological in origin, and that's pretty well an understanding. It is characterized by difficulties with accurate and or fluent word recognition and by poor spelling and decoding abilities. These difficulties typically result from a deficit in the phonological component of language that is often unexpected in relationship to other cognitive abilities and the provision of effective classroom instruction. Secondary consequences may include problems in reading comprehension and reduced reading experience that can impede growth of vocabulary and background knowledge. And that was adopted there, it tells you, by the IDA board, okay? The LDA, I'm a member of the LDA, okay, because as a school, we need to be that, defines dyslexia as a learning disability in the area of reading. Makes it short and simple. These organizations point out the term dyslexia is defined in many different ways. While reading is the primary problem, some definitions of dyslexia also include difficulties with writing, spelling, listening, speaking, and math. I will tell you, layman here, I have yet to find a dyslexic who doesn't have issues in this area. If they can't make out, Matt, early on, and it's usually early on the road might be okay, but about third grade, when you start doing word problems and you're having problems with reading and you can't do it as fast as everybody else, you're gonna have you're not worried. You're gonna try to do what you can. Think about it. If all your friends are running up in front, what are you gonna try to do? You're gonna try to get up and with your friends. So you're gonna get shortcuts. So if it takes me longer to read, I'm just gonna go and get what I can and get up there. Try to read while I'm getting up there, and it's not going to work. So that's part of. So you're going to have. I believe personally, my opinion is that a dyslexic usually has issues in all these areas, one way or another. Okay, that's just so. But I'm just giving you what they say. Okay, with all these possibilities of dyslexia, it's extremely important that you know your student, not just what he or she can do. Notice I keep harping on this. I can't tell you how. This is from 16 years of working with these kiddos. 24 if you count how much I've been working with my daughter. All right? I tell you how. You ask questions. Gather as much information as you can. Some of the things important. Did they ever have a diagnosis early on? I don't know if you guys do this and you provide this to the tutors, but it's good. Now I will say, whatever they got to also know that you're going to be confidential about this. Right. It's very important. Who did it? Why is that important? If it was a reading specialist, they're not going to be as thorough as a neurologist. You need to know how. And they're also going to she's coming from a reading specialist, coming from the practical, in the classroom setting kind of stuff, how they can do, where a neurologist is coming from a clinical, medical side. Okay? And so those are things you want to know. How long was his diagnosis, when was his diagnosis done? One thing that's important, we always ask, I always ask every student this when they come to me. How do you learn this? What makes things easy for you to learn? Oh, I like to see it. I like to touch it. Okay? That makes it different. And that's their strength. Now, I know a lot of teachings is we got to work on the weaknesses. You want to tell you how you work on your weaknesses? Develop your strength. I'm getting preachy here to you. God gave it. That's God's gift. Gives us all gifts and talents. And if He made an area of me the way He made me, is so that's who I am, and I need to not try to change who I am. Now some things about me I need to change. Just ask my wife. But develop who I am. But take my strengths and develop them. And you'd be surprised, and that's kind of what we do. We look at each child's strength, whatever that strength. And sometimes we gotta really look. Okay, I'm just gonna be honest with you. And these kids come in beat up. I can't imagine a 40, 50-year-old.
Oh my God.
Okay, you develop, try to find that and develop that one, and watch what happens. Yeah. Watch what happens. All right, I'm gonna talk to you about a few types of dyslexia. These are not all inclusive. These names may not even be used tomorrow. Okay, let me put the disclaimer to you. So, types. The first one I want to talk to you about is surface dyslexia. It's a type of dyslexia characterized by difficulty with whole word recognition and spelling. especially when the words are irregular spelling sounding words. Let me give you some of the quick facts about surface dyslexia. I don't know, did I give you a slide on that? Did I give you a slide on quick facts? Page 2, bottom, all right. I'm just gonna read it, because I don't know if I put all of them in there, so I'm gonna read some of what this particular writing said. It's distinguished by severe, in order to keep severe difficulty with whole word recognition. Reading specialist, can you give us a quick explanation of whole words?
I'm sorry, an estimation
I
of.
know, the explanation of so everybody knows.
Tax skills is what you're talking
Yeah,
about?
whole words. When we're talking about whole words, what are whole words? Somebody help me out with what it says. How do you what is a whole word? What is that? Anybody know? Okay, that's okay. I didn't mean to put you on the spot. We'll look at that in a minute. All right, but know that it's you're unable to correct whole words or the words you sound out phonetically. It's the best way I can describe to you. Okay, sight words or what?
Those you already know.
Yeah. Or that they don't, you can't.
They don't meet a specific
rule. Rule. They don't meet a specific rule. Okay. Phonetic word, whole words are words that you can sound out phonetically, like database. Database. Okay, you can sound that one out phonetically. All right.
The other one would be like pterodactyl.
Yeah. Or now, words that are not sound out phonetically, like, for example, debt versus bet. Can you see the difference? Okay. Pretty versus jetty would be another one. Okay. Now, they have extremely difficult sounding out words that do not sound like they are spelled. Okay. That's a better way of saying it to you. Some refer to this dyslexia as dysadetic dyslexia or visual dyslexia. They can't see the word. The brain cannot see the word. Okay? I call it brain being blind. Most of this, usually this dyslexia is acquired, but it can be developmental. Okay, most of the people this is acquired, and I'm giving you this one first because this could be adult learners. It's probably more common in adult learners than it is in children. So you guys are dealing with adult work. It could be acquired. One of the ways it could be acquired, and this is what I was talking about getting to know, if they had a stroke. You know, I don't claim this, but once you start getting those, you know, now it could be younger, but once you start getting in the 50s, especially when you start hitting the 60s, there's that D word we all don't like when it comes to memory. Okay? Dementia and those kinds of things that can start affecting us. All right, so those that could have, you know, some of the things that might be going on. So just know this. So that's some of the signs or some of this particular dyslexia. Now I want to say a typical dyslexic, what we normally, you guys, what you describe as what typical, some of the symptoms of typical dyslexics has problems blinking, sounding words. In other words, auditory processing disorder. In fact, they get diagnosed that way by neurologists, and it's true. It's auditory processing. Okay, a surface dyslexic has problems linking words to sound. They don't hear the sound. They can't make out the sound. So what's the treatment? It's lexical reading. Reading, and that simply means you're reading by seeing the word. So if you notice, if this is the problem with the student, the adult that you're working with, then you've got to give them tools for them to see the word. Okay? We're big phonics. We're big on phonics. And I will tell you, for the most part, it works. It helps. I think it's a big disservice that not just public schools, but predominantly public schools have done, is gone away from phonics. I believe that.
Now, the dyslexia programs still have phonetical components.
Yeah, but I think I think phonics is very important. But there are exceptions to every rule. to the rule. And these guys are the exception to the rule. Phonics, they can sound it out, no problem, left and right. But then when it comes to those sight words, they can't read it. They can't see it. They can't. And you can sound it out, and they're like, no sound. They can't sound. They can't make it sound out for them. So that's where that happens. I thought we were going to take a break, but because I got on my little soapbox, and it's 10 after 3. If you need a break, just take a break, and I'm going to keep pressing on. Is that okay? Is everybody okay with that? All right, good. All right, what are some of the things, some of the techniques to help somebody with surface dyslexia, flashcards? I tell you, I had a student that I heard, this was early on when I was teaching, that I didn't know what it was. She was a bright young lady. As far as everything I could tell, she wanted to learn. She wasn't a behavior. In fact, it was one of my athletes. At the time I was coaching girls sports. And I said, I couldn't have her fail because then she would be ineligible to play. So I had to figure out something. so that's one of the things I think coaches ought to teach more too. But anyway, that's another story. But so I started talking. I asked her, have you ever done flashcard studies? And she said, no. What's that? And so I said, well, here, let me show you. So I did that, and she went from failing to a B. And I said, so she might have been one of these surface dyslexics. I don't know, but she definitely, that flashcard did it for her, man. Put it on flashcard, and she ate it up. That's how I got promoted in the military. I'd be walking, running the treadmill, working I might have been one of these guys for all I know. Okay. Sentence completion stats. Students who are taught to complete sentences by selecting among multiple choice words improve reading performance. Some of our students, they get multiple choice tests, or maybe the other ones don't, for this very reason. They're given some, spelling, instead of spelling out the words. To get the spelling test is a multiple choice test for them. They need to see the words. In other words, they're visual. They got to see it. Repeated reading, copying, and writing words. And there's a little thing there that talks about the study. But basically, repetition. One of the things we're big at our school. I tell my teachers, I don't care if you finish the textbook. Yeah, that's right. I don't care if you finish the textbook. I want you to get 4 or 5 concepts each year in your subject in each student. And if you do that, they're going to be over the major. Now, I'm saying concepts. I mean the major concepts. You look at your material, figure out what 4 or 5 of the major concepts are, that's what you're doing, and get that in there. All the other stuff, introduce it, but it's fluff. You focus on these things. And I get students A and B's. I get students that are at Marshall University doing an engineering program, making straight A's. Okay? Who was in what do they call those, the behavior unit, when he came in? Since 2nd grade. Came in 5th grade.
And the one thing that we emphasize here, Kaz, is that we work at the student's pace.
There you go.
We don't want our tutors ever to feel pressure that, we develop the lesson plans, but don't ever feel pressure that, oh my God, I didn't get through everything on the lesson plan today. It may not be today, it may not be the next time or the time after that. Whatever it takes for that student.
What I tell my teachers is this, we're Bible-based. So I tell the Word of God says that we learn, when God told Moses to teach the people of Israel what he wanted them to learn, he said precept upon precept, step upon step. And the thing of that is you got to get one thing down before you can move on to, kind of way to look at that also is you got to get this down before we move to this one, and then once we get this one, we're going to move to this one. And that's kind of how we do it. Military. That's what the military trains you. I'm going to tell you what I'm going to tell you. I'm going to show you what I'm going to tell you. I'm going to show you. I'm going to take you through it. And then after you do it, you're going to practice. When you got it, we're going to evaluate. Who's going to fail that way? That's how they can take dumb rocks. Remember the old adage of the military was, if you can't do anything else, join the military. Right? And then they were handling these billion-dollar equipment and doing it excellent. That's why. How did they get them? The old adage of the dumb jock. How can they learn stuff? How can they learn the 100 playbook? Because they did it over and over and over. It's also muscle memory. That's why exercise, remember I said we're going to do some exercise? Exercise is a key component of learning. I'll show you some exercise. You don't get in shape with me. All right. Quick fact. Now we're going to talk about phonological dyslexia. Anything about surface that I know I'm going kind of quick? I just kind of want to, and then we're going to get to the practical. Just kind of some of the dyslexias that are out there, common ones. Okay. Am I standing okay with you? I know I'm moving some. I'm trying, man. I'm trying. All right. Phonological dyslexia. Caroline should have told you I had preaching me. Quick facts about phonological dyslexia. The most common type of dyslexia is synonymous with dyslexia itself. This is the one where most people believe is, when you think of dyslexia, this is the one most folks think it is. Inability to sound out words, especially nonsense words. It's associated with the classic symptoms of dyslexia. It's a brain-based disorder caused by neurological processing problems. There's something, I tell folks, it's like the brain, usually, it's got a short. There's some shorts in there. And they can do fine 1 second, the next second, and so they're missing. Think about it, it's like they're listening to the radio where it keeps going on and off the station sometimes. That's these guys. It's kind of the words there, not there, not there, kind of thing. It's definitely an auditory processing. Another thing, this is why I tell most of my kiddos don't make it in school. Most of these adults maybe didn't make it in school. But for this reason, because you get this person like me, like I'm doing right now, and they're hearing How you gonna learn this stuff? You're gonna miss some key stuff. That's what they're hearing. So that's what's going on. It's again typically this one here is genetic. It's inherited, developed. Something happened that caused the problem at birth. But in some cases, it can be acquired through stroke and Alzheimer's. So it can affect adults. Even though maybe they weren't. Later, something happened.
Or traumatic brain injury.
Any impact to the brain, really could have an effect like this. Right, Doc?
Yes.
All right.
He's like, yes.
All right. So it's phonological dyslexia is extreme difficulty reading that is a result of phonological impairment, meaning the ability to manipulate the basic sounds of language. Manipulate the basic sounds of language is difficult. The individual sounds of language become sticky, unable to be broken, and manipulated easily. My slides got messed up here. What happened? Hold on. Let me see something. I apologize for that. Okay. What are some of the things that you can do for somebody who's phonological, some of the techniques? It's and I'm just going to let you look at those a minute. Just look at them. Notice the very first thing again is get to know the learner. Multisensory approach. We use this, we as a school have some methods that are throughout the school. I don't care, our kids are ADD, ADHD, Asperger's, dyslexia, dysgraphia, which is writing, dyscalculia, can't do numbers. I call it the dys school. Okay, we got the dys. Okay, we dys everything. All right, and so except dysfunctional. All right, that's the one that we don't think. Yeah. What I tell them, I tell my teachers this: you introduce things to the students with as many sensory ways you can. If you can get them to taste it and learn, you do that, and we do. Okay, feel it, taste it, see it, touch it. Absolutely. I will tell you a story. I did a little chapel. We do chapel, and I did it about my teddy bear and how that was my best friend. And then I told everybody but they had a better best friend. I told them I lost my teddy bear, and how now my best friends. But I will never leave. Jesus will never be gone. That was the whole point. By doing that, all my kids, I'm talking about K through 12, now walk around with teddy bears. Because they took it as a license to bring their teddy bear to school. And bro, I'm telling you, I had to put a limit, one teddy bear. For one thing to squeeze. You know, because a lot, you know what? But you know what? My behavior at school, and I had the best. I couldn't teach at a regular school because I'd be in jail. Some of the stuff I hear some of the educators go through. Okay, I just couldn't do it. I had the best behaved kids in town, and a lot of my kids were put in alternative school and that kind of stuff. But most of it's because they couldn't communicate what was going on. They got frustrated and they did what? Did something. I had a kindergartner going to be put in the ED unit because supposedly took out the teacher. This kindergarten went about that big. Now I know there's some really, this was the sweetest, most gentle little guy. And I like to tell you that I did all that. But no, because we came to a place that somebody took time to find out about and what was bothering him. And once we got him moving in the right, figured it out and moving him in the right way, he was good to go. But if we did it by, we call him Little Tiger Wood. Second grade, he was golfing for us. He did better than most of my high school kids. Yeah. All right, because we found out what his bent was, and that's how we got to him. Structured. Are you ready for this? You know that the new thing now is free learning. Let it all just learn. Right? Just let it all come. It's all going to come to them. But structure. All right. And somebody with a learning struggle needs structure.
Yeah.
Okay. Systematic, sequential, cumulative. I'm not. And you can read that what it means. I'm not going to. Again. There's a method. There's a structure. These are big words saying kind of what I've already said to you. Be flexible. You can just look at personal, building a close teacher-student relationship. That's a tutor, adult. You guys call them students? What do you guys
call them? We call them adult learners.
Adult learners, right? Learner relationship. All right. There you go. What'd you say?
Old students.
Old students. All right. Hey. Then the last one I think this is the last one I'm talking to you about is direction of dyslexia. How many of you cannot have problems with directions? Be honest.
Always.
How many times I've been here now? I came here before. I still turned out. I was supposed to make it right and I made it left. Okay? Okay?
You pointed to your school over there.
I thank God for GPS. That was one of the great. God did that just for me. Now you say, wait a minute, directions. What's that got to do with dyslexia? Some folks, it's been categorized that. Okay. It says not an actual dyslexia, but it's in the dyslexia thing. It's sometimes called spatial. It's the problem with space, but that's why it's a dyslexia. It's spacing. Think about it. If you have problems with spacing, you might have problems with spacing and seeing the words on paper.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
So, they have problems with left and right. I got a young man, one of the exercises we do, I'm going to show you, one of the exercises you do, you'll march for me. I got a young man that, and I'm not going to have you do this part because I didn't get time to grab one before they locked out the room we have it in, and I don't have a key. Can you believe that? But you got to march and you got to move your hands, right? And to a beat. Well, his legs, this guy's going 120 beats a minute. His hands are going like, and we thought at first we hadn't seen it this bad. We've seen a little, then they get it, they kind of start like this, and then they finally, but this guy, I've never seen a kid this bad. Literally, it's like, he's like, his feet are going, and he can't, especially his left hand, he can't get it. And he's not, we thought he was trying to play with us. No, but it's for real. He just can't do it. He's one of these guys. But now he's getting, this hand, now he gets messed up a little bit, but it's coming. And guess what? his reading and comprehension and everything else is coming with it.
Is
It's not
improving
great.
with it.
No, you're crazy. No, it's the truth. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. Be surprised. So anyway, doing this. They can't do it. In fact, we have a full sports program. Football, not 6-man because I don't have enough to play 11-man. Basketball, volleyball, cheerleading, track, golf, tennis, we do it all. These are kids that have never played before. We used to be everybody wanted to play us for homecoming.
Yeah.
Football. I got there, the only reason we have football was when I got there, they had bought football. They had convinced 12 guys, my predecessor had convinced 12 guys to get uniforms, to get the whole equipment and everything. They had to buy their own, and they had committed that when they would give it in turn, give it back to the school. That's the way they would have, and these guys did it. That's how bad they wanted to. But they couldn't, oh my goodness. In fact, you tell, all right, we're going to do plays. And everybody got their plays? Yeah, break. They go out and they do exactly nothing what you had planned on, okay? And you talking about bad news bears? Oh. We hadn't seen anything.
But did you use oral instructions, or did you use
We
X's
used-
on a board?
You name it, we used it.
But if you use words on a board, it can get really confusing.
Yeah, we did it. We tried everything under the sun. Video, where I had professional players come out and walk them through stuff. But here's the thing. At first, but that was the beginning. But guess what? As we kept practicing, and we kept working, and then we found out. And let me tell you this. Let me tell you something else you're gonna find out. You're gonna leave out of here. You're gonna find something for your adult learner, and it's gonna work. Woo! And you're gonna be taking off with it. And you're gonna be, yeah! And then Caroline goes, you're gonna say, Caroline, give me 2 more. I don't know how you do it. You get just one at a time? Is how you
Well, it depends on how much time the tutor has.
Yeah. Or you get done with one and you're ready for the next one and you sit them down and you do the same exact thing and nothing's going to work. You got to get to know that guy or that guy. It's going to be different. So it really is an adjustment thing. But we do sports because I found this out, that by doing just the kinesthetics of sports, it wasn't about the winning. We don't do it for winning and losing. But just about working on the gross and fine motor skills, their learning started improving in the classroom. Their reading starting to get better. And really that's what happened, because their understanding started to get better. When those things started to get better, we played for the state championship the last year I coached. Okay, that's all right. And now, nobody wants to play us for home. That's the important part. All right. Some of the treatments, now they got this stuff here. I'll be honest with you, we don't do any of it. But hey, I'm giving you tools because it might work in your case. I don't know your whole full environment, so I want to give you some. But I'm gonna give you some other stuff here in a minute. Now for sense of direction, write things down. Thank you, Jesus, for GPS. Okay, don't be showing but it's good if you wrote law, things, different things, study maps. You said they got GPS on there, so. And I think this as a joke, worst case, leave breadcrumbs. Okay, come follow the breadcrumbs. All right. Final thoughts on dyslexia. I'm going to tell you on directional dyslexia. A lot of ADHD students can have this. They also can have this. It's more and more I'm getting this. If they have the ADHD, they're dyspraxic. And they all want to use this to do all their work on. And we're very much techies. Okay, we're becoming, in fact, I'm going to tell you what, because of the way things have gone, I'm going to have probably all our textbooks are going to be on a tab. We're probably looking either this year or not next year for sure.
How is that actually better?
Tablet. It's not that it's better. It's just that that's the way. Because here's the thing, the state of Texas controls textbooks. And the state of all the big public schools and private schools are going to tablets and downloading books, the price of a textbook is going through the stratosphere. So for the economics, that's why most schools are going to have to go that route. No, but I like my books, and we're gonna try to do as much as that. It's not better. In fact, what I can tell you, we allow for that. However, you still gotta know how to sign a contract. What happens if what happened? The thing died, and the machine died, right? What if this would die? That's why I made me some hard copies, and I even got some cheat notes. Okay, so those kinds of things can happen. So that's why but it is, but it's because, you know, and I'm not, again, Professor, Dr. here can maybe speak to this a little bit more. I'm thinking because more and more, the generations that are coming up, this is all they know. I'm getting a whole lot more ADHD, dyslexic kids. And so I'm wondering, I don't know if all the districts are doing this, but I know certain districts don't even teach handwriting. Yeah. And you should see what adults are writing. How they write. So some of them have become adults now. And then they're going on to college and they gotta do some writing.
And we're seeing an increase in adults wanting us to teach them cursive.
Yeah, cursive.
We've had that. We've had adults ask us to teach them cursive. You know, yeah. Young. They tend to be on the younger end. You know, the 18 to 30-year-old age group that want to be taught how to write cursive.
Doesn't it take longer to print than it does to
You
do
would
cursive? Because the cursive, your pen
You're
just
connecting
stays
the-
on the page. So if you're writing an essay,
But for students with dyslexia, that's one of the best things you can do for them. In fact, one of the techniques for students with dyslexia is this. You say it. Okay. In fact, I'm going to have to do an exercise with you. And I wish I don't have a board. I can't do it all. But I would do this. I would write the letter A. Okay. I would say to you, A. Repeat after me.
A.
Ah. And then what you would do after that is you would turn and you would write it. Okay? You print it. Start out with printing. And we would do that. And then at first, you'd be surprised. A lot of dyslexics can't make that either. So when you put it there so it was tracing, and they would have to trace it. That's one old technique. Now we don't need to, in this program, when they start out basic, tracing letters. They can't do it. So you're working on growth. You got to get those gross and fine motor skills working, and it connects to it starts getting the brain, lubricating the brain. That's what I call it. So yeah, but that's the facts is that's where we're going. So anyway, all right. Now you ready? I'm getting ready. Now this is gonna be your test part. So I'm gonna have you do a few things with me.
Does it involve reading, writing, or memory? No.
Let me tell you before I do. No, I'll say this for last thoughts. I'm gonna give you some practical things. All right. You got that piece of paper that looks something like this, right? That's why I want you to put in front of it. I want you to go ahead and stand up and push your chair. What students do, now when a student comes to us, what we do, sometimes we do this in PE, or we have, now students that are very severe, that we got some severe reading issues, we convince the parents to enroll in this program it's called Powerline. It's a very basic program, all right? And I won't get into all of it, but it deals, everything that I told you it's in about helping is what this guy did and put it to this program, and that's how he developed this program, okay? And he charges us a significant amount of money to use it. All right, so the first thing you do is when you come into the classroom, what these would be is on the wall like this. And then they would start, what we would train them is a metronome beat, to a metronome. You start off real slow. You know what a metronome is? And eventually you want to get, the goal is to get up to 120 beats. Okay? And then what you do, the arrows, one of the exercises, don't do it, just walk. One of the things you would do is just simply raise your hands up. You follow the direction arrows. Up, down, down. See that? See the first row? It would be up, down, down, to the beat, to the metronome. Right? What's my body doing when I'm doing this? In relationship to my brain. What's it doing? Freaking out. What am I doing? In relation to my midline. Yeah, do the cheerleader. You gotta be a cheerleader. Okay? Well, and then, so everybody, let's try the first one. I want you to think about what you got it right in front of you. Yeah, maybe, see the paper. So we're gonna go. Follow me. That's right. Don't worry about the paper. Follow me. Ready? Ready to go? Ready to go? We're gonna go up, back down, up, down, left. Ah! See? Okay. All right. So let's try that again. Ready? Up, down, down, left. Hey, you got it that time. All right, very good. Well, you're gonna be the opposite of me. Remember that. All right. Then you would, and they don't now. Now you see that sheet there? They're gonna go up, and I'm not as good as them. I wish I could. If it was during the week, I'd have brought me some students with me. These guys would blow you out of the water. They would go up and up. Just right now, watch. You know, the way they would do it, they would go up, down, down, left, right, down, left, up. That's the 2 lines.
Oh, okay, that was the first 2.
That was the first 2 lines. Okay? You want to try it?
No.
Yeah.
Well, let me move over so I don't.
Why?
Hit Larry.
Think about what and if you look down, and if you look down, if you look at the paper, then the other exercise to do is this. Look, they go like this. Like that. Okay. Right? What's it do? It's crossing your body line. It's right, left, right connections. It's getting the issue with learning. Usually learning and processing has something to do with the right. It's either right side, left side. You're either right or left side dominant. In the case of a learner that's struggling, one of them isn't even there in some cases. I had a young man, the mother, my first year teaching, mother after about a couple of weeks came to me and said, Mr. Castillo, my son has half a brain. He was born with, his brain was so damaged that right side of it don't work. He said God, in his infamous wisdom, rewired it to the left side. And he was able to do some fantastic things. And she gave me some pointers on how to help him. Okay? All right. Our kids, a lot of times our kids, even though they have a full brain, but one of them is not working quite right. And so what you get in that brain is to get it fired up again. You're also, in some cases, it's literally rewiring. This brain is magnificent. Well, that's why I'm telling you, every day, now that we're getting all this neural, the good thing about technology, they're starting to find out all these things that it's just phenomenal about our brain. We're not even using them, a smidgen of it. So that's kind of what, so that's one thing you need to be aware of. Right?
So aren't they doing this with older people, like you talked about the dementia, and it's the same thing?
Yeah.
Moving around and all.
Do it, okay. The other thing, now doing this, look, another thing you have to do, remember I tell you marching, now they don't just march, I don't know for those of you who do it, it's left, right, right? They have to bring their hands up here, like this. And then, what am I doing with my eye?
Looking at. Focus.
Yeah, that young man, some of the kids will do this, they'll go, let me see, I gotta try to make myself do it wrong, because after 20 years it was natural for me to march. But I'm trying to think how to do it. They'll do something like, they'll go, try to do the same hand, and even if they do this, even if they're able to march, they'll look the other way. He said, no, look at your hand. Look at your hand. And they're going, I am. No. Look. Put your hands, leave your hand up. Look at your hand. See it? Now you see, oh, yeah. Okay? Yeah. And you have to train them to do that. How I can conceive and And Caroline is the, what she says you do. I'm just giving, I was trying to think out of the box for you guys, okay? So what you might, if you see, that might be, if you got somebody that can't do it. And now I'm gonna give you some things. You want to say, hey, go at home. You don't want to embarrass an adult. You don't want to embarrass him. But look at home, learn. You look in the mirror. Watch yourself march. Practice marching. Remember, if you're in the military, practice marching. And use your hand. When you go up, look at your eye. Make sure you're looking at your hand. Okay, don't poke yourself in the eye. Make sure you're looking at your hands. Okay, like I said, this the other one is opposites. Opposites. There's some other. I won't tell you. There's some other ones that we do for PE. Our warm-ups for PE is not your regular job. In fact, this is what I learned. The first day, I go out to PE class, and I learned LD my first time with a whole class of learning challenge kids. Okay. All right, we're gonna do 10 jumping jacks. Ready? Begin. 1, 2, 3. Wow! Stop! What are you all doing? I have them going every which way. So why do I get up? But you know what? My kids after a while were the best. They look like they're in the military. They can do jumping, because in the military, you know what? Remember, in the military, how you do, this is the way you do jumping jacks in the military. Out, 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 out. So we did up, so I said, okay, watch everybody, we're going to do them like this. We're going to go. When I say out, everybody, you put your feet out and your hands up. Okay? I tried that, that didn't work. So that's okay, we're going to do it by the numbers. 1 is here. 2 is here. That worked. And so I figured that group, that worked. And that's how we did jumping jacks. Okay, that's how we did jumping jacks. And then I okay, we're going to go. Ready? 1, 2. Say 1, 1. Okay, good job. 1, 2. Say 2, 2. And that's how I tell them how to count. Sometimes you got to break it down. Ooh, I'm getting windy. I turned 60 this past year, so I know I'm a baby. I'm still young, man. 60 is the new 40. Is it? I receive it. Hey, God promised me 125. That's what I'm believing for.
All right. And I know who I am.
There you go. There you go. All right, have a seat. Okay, have a seat. The other one, and I didn't mean to bring the other thing you can do. Now this is for the typical. What's the 2 letters that dyslexics mess up all the time? D and B, right? And I meant to grab this one, and I'll show you. I think I have a copy over here. Yeah. You see this right here? I meant to bring you this one and have you do this one. Okay, and what you do is, I don't want to mess up my man here, so let me stay right here. Take your fingers, make a B, make a D. So you make yourself see like you have one. Make believe this is, left is B, say B, left is B. Everybody say B?
D.
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 Okay, so what you do, now watch, and then I'm gonna have you do it. You're gonna go. The only thing is with them, we give them a visual. Okay, you gotta see yourself see a visual. Okay, so then you don't have to. You would go B, D, B, D, B, B, D, 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 D. You give them instructions. Okay, on how to do it. So everybody see a B and D. You got a paper B and D. Look it down. So we're gonna go and we'll make the sound. We'll make the sound, and you go. Ready? And you're gonna with me. You're gonna go. Buh, duh, buh, duh, buh, duh, buh, duh, buh, duh, buh, duh. And then you pick it. Now they're doing it to a metrodome. Remember I did the metrodome? They'll do it to the metrodome. Okay. Do the same thing with P and Q. Do the same thing. Those different things that you're saying. This sounds silly. So I'm telling you, it works. Real simple stuff that works. I'm gonna tell you another one. Is anybody here familiar with Statopic? Statopic. Okay. We require all our students to give a speech for their senior graduation. It's a short speech. Now, a graduating class is 8 to 10. Okay, but I still take, if everybody takes 2 minutes, that's 16, 20 minutes. Okay? And we get them out in an hour and a half. So we start practicing. I believe that speaking, When you can get up, speaking in front of folks is one of the most fearful things. But if you learn to do it, that's a way to overcome fear. A lot of my students have deal with anxiety and fear. So we have them practice getting up speaking. We do science fairs every year. Everybody. We just finished science fair. We've got people, in fact, I might have some of you guys, invite you, a couple of you guys. In fact, we messed up and Caroline didn't come, she comes. Pretty intensive science fair, right? They gotta get up, give you eye contact, speak, demonstrate the whole bit. We practice it a lot. But written, now, I'm gonna tell you, a lot of you dyslexics, they can talk the game. The gift of gab is not a problem for a lot of dyslexics. In fact, it's usually their strength. Because that's what they've done.
They compensated.
Yeah, they compensate. We are warriors. I know that's not PC, politically correct. That's our mascot. The reason we are warriors is because my kid has had to fight to survive in this world of language. Not all of them are dyslexic, but by that definition, 98% of them are. Although not all of them have that diagnosis. Okay, most of my, whatever their diagnosis is, there's a language issue, which dyslexia happens to be one of them. So I'm telling you, what you can do for dyslexic, you can do for a lot of languages challenge. Okay, so we have them get up and speak. Now they get to read their speech. You say, well, how does a dyslexic read a speech? And I'll tell you, there's not a dry eye in the house when my kids get done. I'll put them up against some of the best speakers you've heard. One of the things we do, my English teacher does, do you know what overlays are? And Caroline, I'm going to encourage you. I think they're $1 a piece. Okay. A piece at the Learning Zone. You guys can get stuff from. If you can, you let me know. Okay. They come in different colors, and what my English teacher does.
And you
so if you need.
You test them on their face.
We don't test. We ain't got time to test. So let me tell you how we do it. But that is the official way of doing it. You test them. You find out what their color is. Not their favorite color, but what their color is.
Where the letters stand out.
And that way they can see the letters. But here's how we do it. We say, they say, you haven't probably seen the letters yet. Why don't you go over there and there's a bunch of colors, look at them, start looking at the writing with the colors, the reading with the colors, and see which ones feels the best for you. And they'll start, and everyone picks their color. We have a harder time keeping those overlays. It's a little strip. Just a little strip. Not like on a book. You can put on, whether they put it on the book, or like if they write something, they put it on there, and as they're reading it, they can see it. They can see it perfectly. They're giving them eyeglasses.
Wow.
And they can go.
What's the one most often?
For us, pink seems to be very prominent. Yellow, green, probably would be the three top. If I had to give you 3 top, is that right, reading teacher? Did I hit it pretty close? Yeah.
Is it like a highlighter then? That kind of.
It's just let me try to transparency. There you go. There you go. I was trying to think of the word. It's a piece of remember the old? We don't have to see transparent. But it's in a different color.
But I use highlighter at work to highlight a
well,
certain
because thank you for saying that. Very good point. So what we do now, most schools, even private schools, you pay a book fee. Those books belong to the school.
You can't highlight.
You can't highlight that. I mean, you get kicked out of school for that. Our kids love it, especially my graffiti kids. Because we give them the books and they say they're yours. We want you to mark in them. We want you to highlight in them. And that's one of our techniques. In fact, when you'll hear my teacher say something like this. All right, begin highlighting until I stop reading. The scientific method. Stop. Now they have it highlighted, and that helps them. Now you do that with every student, because that way my dyslexic kids don't feel weird, dumb. And the other kids, they love it because now they got their notes for the what? Say it, don't be afraid, it's not a bad word, test, the test, the test, they have the word for the test. They got the notes, they're taking notes that way. Okay?
But with the overlay, they're picking their favorite, or not, well,
It's
favorite in the sense
It's
of
the
one
best, a
is
lot,
the
we
best
have
for them.
found that, and I can almost guarantee, I would, if I was a gambling man, which I'm not, that if we were to test our kids, the color they pick and they're comfortable with is the color that they're gonna test, when they get tested, it's gonna come out with. We just save money in testing. I don't have I just can't, first, the time, second, that's, trying to save the parents some money. Because usually, whoever does testing charges. Okay? So that's how that works. The other thing, tell your students things like this. If you see that they're struggling with writing or they're struggling with reading, tell them. I want you to take your, the process, tell them. I want you to take your right hand, put it on your left shoulder. And watch how many of them maybe struggle with this. This right here. This right here. This, they struggle with it. Again, it's that cross laterality. Anything you do to cross laterality.
And when you say they struggle with it, they miss it?
They might put it here, they might put it, they can't do it. They can't do it. They can't distinguish. Remember I said one of the dyslexics is directional? They can't distinguish between, you tell them, okay, put your left hand on your right shoulder and they'll do this. It's just the opposite. They can't distinguish between left and right. Or they'll have, like that young man, I'll tell you, he can't, man, his feet, he can march, but getting those hands up, now he's getting the right hand up pretty good, but that left hand still. And it's not a physical, he's not physically, it's not a problem with him. There's no physical problem, no physical problem with him. Okay? All right. Questions? Any questions?
I just want to make an observation on that. We might say that in the classroom, how can you hurt somebody by getting the direction wrong? But if you put them on the battlefield and the field of fire is to the right and they go left, they just killed all the people to the left. And that's why it's critical that you practice.
Jobs. If you don't know the difference between your right and your left. If you take too long reading, you got to pick it up. You got to say, production, right? If you tell somebody, kid doesn't know how to, can't directional, doesn't know how to get places, can't figure it out. Studying maps. That's something we spent a lot of time working on teaching our students to study maps. That's to overcome the directional thing. I wish somebody had done that with me. Maybe I would still know the difference from my. I tell folks, there you go. Are you going north on Highway 6? Whoa. Give me markers. Tell me red building, white truck, cactus at the corner. Give me something that I can see. I'm visual. My wife, in fact, one of the biggest things people get divorced over is building a home, right? You know that? And I found out why. We're building our house. Her and the construction guy, I want to paint, and they'll tell you, this color, we want to do this, and and they're just having a good old time, okay? My wife would love, her favorite place to go shopping is Home Depot and Lowe's, okay? So she's doing all that stuff. And they go, what do you think, Cass? And I went, and this, the frame, this is just the frame of the house or something. I'm going, how long, I'll let you know when you finish it. Because I couldn't figure out what they were talking about. I was trying to, but I couldn't figure it out. I'm the guy that if I get a screwdriver in my hand, my family goes into prayer and fasting. Okay? I'm mechanical, but I'm visual now. I'm a visual learner. If I can see it, there better be some instructions in that box. Not just with words, with pictures, so I can see it. I can read it, but I gotta see, okay, now I know what you're saying. That's me.
I feel your pain, brother. I know exactly what you're talking about.
You don't want me building you a house. All right. Anything, Caroline? Anything you would like to? I hope this. Yes, sir, ma'am, sir.
One thing I'm hearing you say today is a neurologist or a doctor might diagnose a child with some condition. Okay, so they diagnosed, but they didn't have a cure. Like Alzheimer's was first diagnosed in 1901, and here we are, 2016, and they still don't know what the problem is. But I see you as being kind of like the cure.
Well, I'm not.
No, but you have practically figured out something beyond what the neurologist said, because if you're helping them to correct a problem, then
And you will find out, this is why most neurologists and psychologists and psychiatrists are hesitant to give to give diagnosis. That's why it can change, and it can literally some things won't change. Autism to a certain, although, they tell you IQ won't change.
But
I haven't seen IQ change.
Couldn't they misdiagnose entirely when they label something?
Yeah, it's not uncommon. Now here's what happens. Let me tell you what happens at our school. Student comes in, we call it the cocktail diagnosis. They got several diagnoses on a whole bunch of medication. And then things start, as they start processing through us and they start getting some things start changing, they start getting angry. And we go ahead and tell them, take them back to the doctor. And guess what? They'll say things like, oh, our diagnosis was all wrong. We need this actually was going on now. Actually, no, what's happened, there's been some changes, some cognitive learning changes that have taken place. God made this mind. It's phenomenal what we can, they can happen with it. We just got to, I'm blessed to have a bunch. I laugh. My teacher was like, hey guys, I'm doing the talk on dyslexia. They all crack up because I tell them, because I'm blessed to have some folks that really are awesome, and not pay them peanuts, because it's nonprofit. I can't afford to pay them. I can't even pay them. Most of them don't make half what a starting public school teacher makes. But they're like you guys about what you're doing here. They see it as a calling. It's not about the money, and what we do is, I will tell you, said I figured out now. A lot of what we've come up with. In fact, I was laughing when I was went through the literature to read some of the stuff, because I'll tell you some of the stuff that I know, all it is confirmed to us, some of the things we're doing, and we just been praying and asking for how do we, getting to know, I'll tell you, take this with you, get to know your learner. See, I'm trying to learn your language. Get to know your learner. That's real important. Develop a connection with them. Okay. Work up, try to figure out, one of these you want to look, what's their strength? And if you use that, now this, learning whole gaps, if you don't know, you got to know, in math, you got to know certain formulas, you got to know those things, but use that, if you know their strengths, you might be able to figure out how to get them to know that. And don't be afraid to think out of the box a little bit. Here's what I tell, I've had educated, and not against educators, but I'll give you an example. I had it's a broken family. The dad really doesn't want to pay his part of the tuition, so he came to the second conference where his wife is now educated. And so she starts grilling my teacher about why aren't all these benchmarks and all this public school stuff, okay? And what they do, and they should be here, with sight words there, and this, like benchmarks and all this and that. And so I called them in and I said, I'm going to just tell you this. I said, I appreciate, and my wife has been an educator. Okay? She taught in public school for 10 years. So I'm not opposed to public school. Don't hear me wrong. But here's what it is. If what public school was doing worked for this child, because this wasn't a child that just didn't ever go to public school, been in public school for some time. If that worked for this child, why are they here now with me and they ain't there? And then in 3 months you expect me to have them fixed? Okay? So this is why and I know that a lot of folks, this is why I'm a school choice proponent. Whatever public school strength is, those folks are getting awesome results with. I know they're trying to help everybody, be all inclusive and help everybody else. It'd be like me in fact, when this school started, it was a school for gifted students and students with struggling. The idea was The gifted students will help pull the struggling students in. After 2 years, they figured out we can't do both and be successful at doing both. So we gotta pick one or the other. And that's why we picked the 2s and 3s of the deck of cards instead of the kings and queens, aces and kings. And that's so when we put our 2s and 3s, we're getting them to become aces and kings, some jacks, some 10s, but they're better than 2s and 3s. So that's it. And that's what you're gonna give it to your guys. You know, the folks should. Thank you. Unless, did I miss something? I forgot to do something. Do I need to do something?
You didn't, I did.
Okay.